Good evening, dear ladies.
כן, שמעתי את השיעור, ומי שלא ישמע יפסיד.
Good evening, dear ladies. I would like to tell you, בעזרת השם, first of all, שיגיע משיח צדקנו במהרה בימינו אמן, שיגיע מבשר, זה מבשר שודקם, אליהו הנביא, אליהו התשבי, אליהו גלעדי במהרה יבואנו משיח בן דוד, אליהו הנביא זכור לטוב. I would like to tell you first of all that Sunday, this coming Sunday, is Asara B'Tevet. Is Yud B'Tevet, is the fast, Yud B'Tevet, is the fast of Yud B'Tevet. We have 4 fasts regarding the ruining of Bet HaMikdash. We have Yud B'Tevet, we have Yud Zayin Tammuz, the 17th of Tammuz. We have also Tisha B'Av, and we have also Tzom Gdaliyahu. Tzom Gdaliyahu, which is Gimel B'Tishrei. Okay, we have 4 fasts that are considered around the ruining of the temple, and it goes by dates from the first thing. For example, Yud B'Tevet, which means Asara B'Tevet, the 10th of Tevet, is about the siege that was over Jerusalem by Nebuchadnezzar, that was the king of Babel, which today is Iraq. So he had a siege over the city of Jerusalem. And then on Yud Zayin B'Tammuz, the walls of Jerusalem fell down. And on Tet B'Av, the 9th of Av, the temple was on fire. All the temple was on fire. Tzom Gdaliyahu, which is on Gimel B'Tishrei, it's because they killed Gdaliyahu. The one that killed Gdaliyahu is called Yishmael ben Netanyah. That killed, he was part of the Melucha, part of the kings. He was a descendant of kings, and he killed Gdaliyahu. He killed him. He was supposed to be the governor of Jerusalem, because that's what Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babel, wanted, and he was killed. So we have a fast on Gimel B'Tishrei. Those fasts, except for Tisha B'Tevet, the 9th of Av, are fasts from sunset to sundown, which means it's only from the morning till night. This fast on Sunday is going to start at 5:50 a.m. I took it from a calendar. It's 5:50 a.m. it starts, and it's until 5:05 p.m. Okay, that's the fast. It's on Sunday. On Sunday, it's Asara B'Tevet, the 10th of Tevet. It's the siege over the city of Jerusalem, the beginning of the ruining of the temple. So I wanted you to know that. That's Asara B'Tevet. Now we are going to start. Huh? Okay, now we're going to... I would like to tell you, dear women, that last week we spoke about Hanukkah. We were very excited, it was Hanukkah party. So we did not speak about Parashat Mikeitz and the stories and all the drama between Yosef and his brothers. How they went to Egypt, Yardu LeMitzrayim, what happened between them. And we can't go to Parashat Vayigash, which is this Shabbat, this coming Shabbat. The portion of the week is Parashat Vayigash, and then we can see that Yehuda meets Yosef, and there's a big drama about it. They speak with each other. He already threatens him that he's going to kill Yosef. He's telling him, I'm going to start with you and finish with Paro. But we can't go to Vayigash before we'll speak about the stories of Yosef and his brothers. Otherwise we won't understand anything. Okay, so it's okay. We're going to start. The first sentence, remember that we spoke about Vayimiketz Shnatayim Yamim, and at the end, it happened at the end of 2 years to the day it's written by translation. But if we translate it correctly in Hebrew, from Hebrew to English, it's Vayimiketz Shnatayim Yamim. It means that 2 years are like days. And you know, the Midrash asks, I didn't want to skip this because it's very important, it's Divrei Musar, it's moral talk. So the Midrash asks, how come 2 years are considered as days? When do 2 years considered as days and days are considered as years? So it says in the Midrash, there's a beautiful story about Rabbi Meirel. He speaks about his father. He was sitting down with his Hasidim around the table, and he was telling a story about his father. He says, we are in Parashat Mikeitz, and I have to tell you a story about my father. Once my father was sitting and concentrating, meditating, and his soul went to Olam Haba, to the next world, to the coming world. And he was there in the world of truth, and he can see in the judgment, in Bet Din Shel Mala, he sees over there a very old man coming. He is 80 years old. And then a young man is coming to be judged. He's around 20 years old. So he says, he sees that Bet Din, the judges over there, are calling to the old man a young man, and the young man, they're calling him an old man. So he was confused. He said, excuse me, didn't I come to Bet Din Shel Mala, to the world of truth? How come you're calling this, he's an 80-year-old man? Why do you call him a young person? And you call the young person an old man? Something is wrong. You mixed up things. This is an old person and this is a young man. They said, no. The old person, in his whole 80 years, all the mitzvot and the good deeds that he did and the Torah that he studies are considered like a few years. That's why he's considered a young man. But this young man, that is only 20 years old, all the Torah that he studied and the mitzvot and the good deeds that he did are considered like he's 80 years old. What he did in those few years, because his days are considered as years, and this old man's days are considered like days. That's why in Olam Ha'emet, in the true world, nothing is mixed up. In the true world, we are only, you remember I told you when we come to the next world, Kol echad b'shato, when we come over there, our soul doesn't have any clothes. Those clothes that we have right now are clothes in this world, Gashmim, physical clothes. Our soul doesn't have a clothes. Because if you look at us, look very carefully, I already told you that once, that if a person dies, the moment he dies, you'll open his eyes are open, you can see them. And then you will take a perfume and put it in front of his nose, he won't smell it. You can shout with a microphone in his ear, he won't hear it. You can open his mouth, he won't speak. But he has the same body, the clothes are on him, everything is the same. What's different? The only thing that is different is that the soul is not, the neshama is not there anymore. So the neshama, which is infinity, it starts from the beginning of the world until the end of the world. The neshama doesn't have any time. It's only has borders in this world, in this physical world that we're in, but it doesn't have any borders. So when it comes to the true world, to the next world, it is judged by its dresses, its clothes. What are the clothes of the neshama? The Torah and the good deeds that the person did in this world. If he did a lot, if he studied Torah, if he came and studied, and he taught his children, we're going to speak about it more during the Parashat, both of them. If he taught his children, and they will say Kaddish over him, and they will know the Jewish heritage, which is very important, especially for women, because the women are the ones that build the house. They make the house kosher, they light the candles, they give the atmosphere. Most of the time the husband is not at home. So the women are the essence of the house, of the Jewish home, the essence. So we are very important. You have to understand this, because we are and only the Jewish religion is the one that a person is called Jewish if his mother is Jewish. All the other religions are by the father. But only the Jewish religion is by the mother. So it's so important what the woman does. So look over here. So in Olam Ha'emet, he says that his father saw that the one that was old, his years were considered like days. And the one that was a young person, his days were considered like years. So this is how we are considered in this world when we are looked up through the other world, for the next world. So it's very important that we come to Shurei Torah, and we have to spread them all over.
I want to tell you one thing also, that maybe many people knows that, but this is from the medical field, that all the illnesses, it goes from mother's side to the children. Only the illness that goes from the father's side to the son's generation is the epilepsy, nothing else. Everything goes from the mother's side. Or a mother has any illnesses, If it's it goes for generation to generation, goes from mother's side. Nothing goes from father.
I would like to add to this something. Don't forget that the father gives the seed, but what happens is that 9 months the baby is in his mother's womb. Everything she speaks, everything she does, if she's angry, if she's upset, if she doesn't eat healthy food, not kosher food, God forbid, or things, everything he does with her, everything he does with the mother, if she's calm, if she tries to go to Torah lessons, if he listens with her through the womb, everything she does is with him. Yes.
Is it possible that a 3-4-year-old child will remember himself still in a mother's body and remembering what the mother is talking to the child at that point?
Inside, not outside.
Yes, of course it's possible. Better it's
It
possible.
happened to my son.
Of course it's possible.
Since I was about a month and a half, 2 months pregnant, I was always talking to him. I was telling him certain things. And when he was 3, and it was like adult things. When he was 3 or 4, he said, Mommy, you were sitting and you were like punning me and you were telling me this and this. And I said, what? And those things happened when I was 2.5 months pregnant with him. I said, oh my God, probably he saw a dream at that time because I was not spiritual at all. And is it really possible, or the child maybe he dreamt of it?
Everything is possible in God's world. Everything is possible in God's world. Everything. I told you the soul doesn't have an ending. It only comes to a short time over here. We're only visitors in this world. Just to do a fixing, and we go back. It's the same soul that comes several times to this world, just with different bodies.
I heard that they know whole Torah and then they forget.
Yes. An angel gives you on your mouth.
We knew whole Torah.
Yes, you are taught. You are taught in your mother's belly the whole Torah. There's an angel that teaches you everything. You know everything, but before you go out, they just do this to you on over here, and you forget it. Now, yes, and then you have to remind yourself, and you have to work. Otherwise, otherwise, and sachar v'onish. You don't get sachar v'onish is a reward and punishment. Otherwise, you don't have a world of reward and punishment. Because over here you have to work in order to receive a reward, and if you, God forbid, you do a sin, you get punished. Midah keneged midah, measure for measure. That's what we have in this world. So I would like to tell you something. I would like to tell you, the Chafetz Chaim, there's a story about the Chafetz Chaim, that wherever he went, he had a bag with him, a mizvada, a certain bag with him. And his students wanted to ask him all the time, the Hasidim wanted to ask him, what's in the bag? But nobody dared ask the Chafetz Chaim. They say when he passed away, they opened the bag. And you know what they saw over there? The clothes for Shabbat, a new set of clothes for Shabbat. Wow. And why did he take him everywhere with him? Because he did not know when Mashiach is going to come. And he wanted to be ready, because when Mashiach, it's like a king coming. So he wanted to be ready. So everywhere he went with a new clothes for Shabbat, so he can meet Mashiach. If Mashiach comes, he can dress up and just meet him.
Also, they say when Mashiach will come, every day will be a Shabbat.
That's
why also maybe.
And all those fast days are going to be holidays. All the fast days are going to be holidays for the children of Israel. And it says, at Parashat Mikeitz it's written, Vayishlach Paro v'yikra et Yosef vayaritzeu min habor. Over here we're going to start speaking about what happens with Yosef and his brothers. Please concentrate with me, because there are a lot of stories. I don't want to miss it with you. So it says that Paro rushed out Yosef from the prison, and rushed out. He did not take him out slowly. They walk. He rushed out. It's Vayaritzeu, rushed out from there. So it says in the Midrash that once Mashiach is going, God will say, this is the time of Mashiach, We will be rushed out from all of the Galiyot, from all of the countries, straight to the land of Israel, immediately. God is going to take us from any place that we are hiding. He will just take His hand and take us out and just send us to Israel. All Klal Israel, all the children of Israel, straight to the land of Israel. I would like to tell you, you can see that Paro has a dream. And we did not speak about the dream. I will speak right now very shortly about the dream. And Paro dreamt that he saw cows going out of the Nile, the river Nile, very nice cows, fat cows, 7 cows. And then he saw another 7 cows going out, but they were slim, they didn't look like each other, and they opened their mouth and they swallowed the big fat cows. They ate them, all the 7 big fat cows. Then he woke up and he fell asleep again. Look what the difference between a non-Jew and a Jew. When Yaakov woke up, you remember when he had the stones and he woke up, he immediately said, there's God in this place, and he davened to Hashem. And when Paro wakes up, he goes back to sleep and he dreams another dream. He sees grain, 7 branches of grain standing together, but they were full of grain, each one of them, 7 of them. And then he sees another 7 set of grains, but they have a few grains, in each package there are a few grains. And again, those slim grains eat the ones that are fat and full. So he woke up in the morning, he was very disturbed. And he asked his wise men, all the Khartoumim, which were witches over there. And he asked them, what is the meaning of my dreams? So some of them said, your wife is going to be pregnant with 7 girls, and then the 7 girls are going to die. Then a few of them said, no, you are going to conquer 7 countries, and then you're going to lose those 7 countries. So he didn't like those interpretations. So there was the butler. You remember the butler? The butler, and he tells a king of Egypt, Paro. All of the kings of Egypt were called Paro. So he wanted to know how he can interpret his dream. So the butler says, I know there was a Jewish boy, a slave that is in prison, and this boy, he says, solved my dream and the Seraphim and the baker's dream, and he solved it correctly, exactly what he said. This is what happened. So Paro calls Yosef from the dungeon. And he was rushed out from the dungeon. They dressed him, they cut his hair, he was dressed nicely, they washed him, everything, straight to the king. And the king tells him his story, those both dreams. And he mixes up a little bit the dreams. He doesn't tell him exactly the dreams. And Yosef says, look how modest he is. Only Hashem can solve your dreams, he said. What Hashem will tell me, I will tell you. He doesn't take the credit for himself. Look how modest he is. So we see that Yosef tells him, listen very carefully. Hashem told me to tell you, and he corrects his dream. Because Paro tries him to see if he knows what he really dreamt, if he can see what he dreamt. So he doesn't say the dreams correctly. You'll see it's written again with changes, but Yosef corrects the changes. And he tells him, listen very carefully. There are going to be 7 years of prosperity, a lot of food, grain, everything we're going to have 7 years. But after that, there are going to be 7 years of hunger. And because those years will be so hard, and the Midrash says God wanted to bring 42 years of hunger on Egypt. 42, like Bet Shemot, 42 names of God. You remember we have 42 names of God. Anna Bekoch Gdulat Emecha Tatir Tzurha for Sunday, and then Kra Satan for Monday. 42. 42.
כן, 42 שמות.
42 שמות.
What's 72 names of God that in Kabbalistic?
That's from Parashat when they go out of Egypt. I will come to that. That's 72 names. But the 42 names are the names that you have for each day. each day, Ana bekoach gdulat yeminecha, kabel rinat amecha sabenu tarenu nora, and then you have Nagi bordosher yechutcha kevad shamreim, barchem tarem achmeitzit kadecha tamim gamnem, which is for Wednesday, and we continue until Shabbat.
זה תפילה חזקה מאוד. מי שאומר את זה כל יום,
No, two different things. You know, the whole Torah is the names of God. You have to understand, women, the whole Torah, everything that is written, the whole Torah is the name of God. The whole letters, everything that you see over there is the name of God. We read the Torah in a certain way. We have the letters combined in a certain way. Look at the letters, look at the words, because we need to understand what we are reading. So it's in our level. But when we go in higher levels, spiritual levels, like the angels and higher tzaddikim and higher than that, the Torah is written, the same letters are, in the same order, but the combination is different. So there's different understanding in higher levels, spiritual levels. What we have over here in front of us is the pshat. There's a pardes, but there's more than the pardes. And you know how you can find the secrets of the Torah? How can you know the knowledge in the Torah, the depths of the Torah? Only if you have avat chinam, unconditional love between people. True love to Hashem, but it begins with Ahavat Israel. Unconditional love. Only then Hashem opens a big tube, a big gate of prosperity, knowledge, wisdom, understanding, dat, chokhmah, binah, vadat. Only then. Otherwise there isn't. I'll give you a clue. You know, maybe I'll give you something that I didn't think of giving it right now, but I'll explain. Listen, be with me.
We are discussing Ahavat Chinam po.
Ahavat Chinam. Amen. Look, amen. Look very carefully. If we look, we know that, which is also, I'll write Keter. We have 3 sfirot, 3 countings over here in our heads. We have Keter, Chokhmah, which is wisdom, and Binah is understanding. Okay? Keter. We have Chokhmah, Binah. Okay? Keter is for the letter Aleph. It has the letter Aleph. Chokhmah is the letter Yud. And Binah is the letter Hey. Okay, from the names of God.
Oh my God.
Okay, Keter. If you add all those letters together, listen very carefully, dear women. It goes. Look. We have Ayeh. You know what the angels say? Ayeh mekom kvodo leharitzo. Where is Hashem? The angels do not know where Hashem is, exactly the position where He is. So they ask, Ayeh mekom kvodo laritzo. Ayeh, when we say that on Shabbat, we have to concentrate and lechaven leneshama yetera. When you say that on Shabbat, when you say that on the davening, b'shacharit, you say Ayeh mekom kvodo laritzo. You say it b'chazarat hashatz. Then you have to concentrate. B'musaf, you have to concentrate when you say Ayeh on neshama yetera. The half soul that we have, that is under kiseh kavod, that doesn't have any sin, that is clean. Ayeh mekom kvodo. Where is Hashem's place? Ayeh, this is from Keter, Chokhmah, Binah. That's Ayeh.
איך נשמה, איך כשמכוונים על נשמה.
צריך לכוון על נשמה יתרה. That you have it. Our soul is separated. It's divided to 2. One is under kiseh kavod. One is over there next to Hashem. It's clean. It doesn't have any sins.
Half of our neshama?
Yes, is under kiseh kavod. On Shabbat we receive it. It comes to us. We have a full neshama. On Shabbat it's a full neshama. Why? Because it comes to tell God to do din b'chashbon. To tell God what we did on Shabbat. You remember there's also 2 angels. I spoke about it, but we're going to speak in the future again. So the neshama yetera is coming to us on Shabbat. Nichneset Shabbat, we have neshama yetera. We have to lechaven on the musaf of Shabbat, b'shacharit. When we say Ayeh Mekom Kvodo La'aritzot, that we want the Neshama Yeter around us.
Can I ask you about Neshama Yeter? It says that whoever writes the Havdalah, it stays until Tuesday. In some books it's written like that. Whoever prays Havdalah at home, so Neshama Yeter, it stays up to Tuesday.
Before the Havdalah, we do Arvit. We say Arvit.
Yes.
We have angels around us. It's like Neshama. Angels are because they have Neshama also, the angels. Body and Neshama. Because we say chapter 91 from Tehillim. We ask them to go because the Neshama Yeter has to go back to its place.
91.
The Neshama Yeter has to go back to its place. But then we add angels around us with Neshama. You understand? By chapter 91, it stays the whole week if you said that with kavanah, with a full kavanah before you said Havdalah. Havdalah gives prosperity at home. Shefa, we have the Havdalah. It's okay, they translate that way.
91, when?
Before Havdalah, yes, when we say Arvit, Arvit shel Motzei Shabbat, when we daven. So if you don't say Arvit, just say chapter 91 from Tehillim. You can say it. So the men do say Arvit before Havdalah. We say in Arvit. If you'll open the Siddur, you will see that in Arvit of Motzei Shabbat, of the end of Shabbat, before we say Havdalah, there's chapter 91. We prepare ourselves for the 6 days of the week by saying chapter 91, because then we say Ki malachav yetzavelach lishmecha b'chol drachecha. Then you have to lechaven that you have a big angel around you that protects you and your family, and he is going to go with you all 6 days of the week until Shabbat, until Yom Shishi, כניסת השבת.
3 פעמים, וגם אני קראתי שמרדכי שרה בזכותו תגן עלינו. אומר, אם אין שלום בבית, לא אומרים את השמות, מה שצריך לכוון. זה אני קראתי.
I'm not sure it's right or not, but somehow if you are sitting on the Friday Shabbat dinner and one of your family members does something wrong or says something wrong or they fight each other,
שיש בספר תיקון כללי של
annulates all the Friday.
Yeah, because they are angels and they say Amen, that this will happen every week. That's why it's big. Listen, dear ladies, let's concentrate. Listen very carefully. You remember that I told you when the...
Very important question.
I need silence.
Told me.
I will explain something. When the husband comes from shul on Friday night, Shabbat comes in, you already lit the candles of Shabbat. There are 2 angels going with him. A good angel and the Samech Mem, the angel of Esav. You remember I told you, it's a bad angel. The 2 angels come into the house with him. If God forbid there are fights in the house, you do not sit straight and do kiddush and have good atmosphere, the bad angel says on the left side that this will happen every Shabbat, and the good angel does not have any choice, he has to say Amen. But if the husband comes in and then he sees that the kiddush and the table is ready, everything is ready, and you sit down with happiness, with love around it. Even if you're angry about someone, don't say anything, just zip your mouth, don't say anything. Then he sees that this is what happened. The good angel says that may this happen every Shabbat, and the bad angel is very angry, but it doesn't help him, he has to say Amen.
Exactly which moment it says, the moment of the kiddush, moment of the amos, or it's beginning.
It's everything. It's everything all the time. It's
You have
the
to sing
beginning.
when you cook even during Shabbat. Is this right?
When your husband
You have to say this is for Shabbat. For example, I will tell you, when you prepare the food for Shabbat, I know that you're excited. It's good. If you prepare,
the woman is going to be happy.
you know, it depends on the woman usually. I tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because, listen very carefully, we have children, we bore the children 9 months in our belly, we want them to be happy. Even though sometimes our husbands can come very angry, something happened, we are angry with the children, but we know that the blessings come from us. We know that the blessings come from us. We need to be patient. We know it's Erev Shabbat. We know that Yetzer Hara wants us to do something bad. Don't get angry. Don't shout. Don't. Then when you say Shalom Aleichem, when there's fight in the house and quarrels, usually you don't say the end of Shalom Aleichem. You don't say Betzetchem. It says, Rabbi Mordechai Sharabi says in his books, Zchutot Hagen Elenu, that you don't say Betzetchem LeShalom. You say Beshiftechem, but you don't say the last thing, because if you have quarrels, you don't want them to go out. You want them to stay in your house. To make peace in your house. Okay, let's continue, otherwise I won't finish today. Dear women, let's continue. When you say Beshiftechem, you say Shalom Aleichem Aleichem. When you say Shalom Aleichem Aleichem.
Let me speak,
I'll explain again. I know that you're excited. Wait. When you have fights and quarrels, כשיש מריבות בבית, and there's no peace at home, when you sing Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Aleichem Shalom, you recite it 3 times each line. Okay, when you come to the end, it says Betzetchem LeShalom. You do not say that. You finish with Beshiftechem LeShalom. I want you to sit in my house, to make peace in my house.
Okay, so we didn't understand why we are not to that level that we sing that song. Personally, me, I would love to know that song. And
in the Siddur.
עכשיו שבא לו בבית, אני עושה קידוש הזה, אפשר לעשות? אני עושה קידוש וגם הבדלה. איזה זכות יש לי, כתוב.
Once a month, I always begging all of you, please meet, and I can take this mitzvah upon myself.
יישר כוח. רביצן סיגלית will be בעזרת השם.
אני מתקשרת אליהם כל הזמן ושואלת אותה. בחיי.
יישר כוח. Okay, let's concentrate. Let's go back. Excuse me. Okay, I would like to tell you, dear women.
רגע, סליחה, לפני שאת תתחילי. נכון, יש בסידור 10 הזה של תיקון כללי? אבל אחר כך תסבירי מה זה. כן, אחר כך.
Dear women, let's continue. Okay, let's continue. I know you're excited. Now, for a few minutes, I know what you need. First of all, Rabbitzin Sigalit is willing to teach the tefillot once a month. We can do it. We can fill it in together. But I know what you need. You need a Russian. You read Russian, don't you?
No, like everybody, like all of us.
What Russian do you read?
No, because but most of us need in Georgia.
Because then maybe I'll find a siddur in Russian that I can give you while you have. So then you have it. You have it in the Kiddush. You have the song.
But did you mean that we should also sing women?
We sing all together. But Sigalit is going to do it once. You sing.
No, בקול רב אישה לא יכולה.
רק גבר צריך.
Let me finish. תגידי להם, Okay, everybody sings, but the women sing in a lower voice. in a lower voice. You can hear the men, but it's in because you say in the song, you also say Baruchuni LeShalom. You want the angels to bless you for peace. So that's why it's so important. Okay, now let's go back to Yosef. Let's go back to Yosef. You know Yosef kept Shabbat. So it's very important. So we know over here that Yosef also kept Shabbat. I have to tell you, dear women, look how God treats everyone midah keneged midah, measure for measure. Hashem said, "Hapeh shelo ratza lenashek," the mouth that didn't want to kiss the wife of Potiphar. He says, "Ve'al picha isha kol ami." He is the one that all of the people of Egypt are going to listen and do whatever he says. That's what Paro says. And this is from Hashem, because his lips did not kiss the wife of Potiphar. And then it says, "Vatzavar shelo ratza litkarev," and the neck that did not want to come close to the wife of Potiphar. Yilbash ravid hazahav, gold chain he put upon his neck, around his neck, because this was the neck that didn't go close to her. And then, sorry, God made him do that, because this is midah keneged midah. God, I told you, this world, if you do good things, you get good things. If you do bad things, you get punished for that. So Hashem said, you had a test, a big test, and she tried to seduce you, to seduce Yosef, and
now,
you didn't.
I'm sorry, the Parod at this time he believed what Yosef said.
No, but Parod.
They didn't believe him.
He did not believe his Khartoumim, his witches, his prophets. But he did believe Yosef, because he tried him. You remember I told you when he told him the dream, he changed the dream. And Yosef fixed the dream. He says, no, you didn't really dream this exactly. This is what you dreamt. So he knew he was telling the truth. And more than that, because it wasn't a bad interpretation, because I told you, any dream, all the dreams, the interpretations of a dream go by the mouth. That's why it's so important not to tell anyone you know a dream. You tell only the ones that truly love you. Otherwise, it's not good, because if they interpret that in a bad way, it will be a judgment for you in this world. So if
she cannot explain that dream correctly,
don't say anything. It's better not to say anything, because it comes from the true world. It comes down to this world. So when you interpret this dream, it depends on what you take out of your mouth. So because he had a good interpretation, he also felt good with himself. He didn't like what his prophets interpreted, what they interpreted about the dreams. And we see that God is also giving him a blessing for his body, because the body that did not come close to the wife of Potiphar, it says garments of linen, fine linen he put upon him. He dressed him with it. And it was also out of linen, because it says that it has gula linen, neged ayin hara, neged bad eye, neged kishufim, neged magic. So that's why he did it. He was afraid, because he put him as Mishneh LaMelech, his right hand. He was the top. He was only above him, but everything that happened in Egypt was by his mouth. What he said, this is what will happen. And we see, let's concentrate. We see that Yaakov tells his children, he tells him, Vayomer hine shamati ki yesh shever b'Mitzrayim, redu shama v'shivru lanu misham v'nichya v'lo namut. So he says, behold, I have heard that there are provisions in Egypt. Go down there and purchase for us from there, that we may live and not die. So he says, go to Egypt. But look what he uses. He says, redu shama. He says, redu. Redu shama. Redu shama. And it's very weird. Why didn't he say, go there? Why did he say, redu, go down there? Every person, a Jewish person that leaves the land of Israel and goes to a different land, a different country, it's a yerida bishvilo. It's going down for him.
That's I know.
When we go to Israel, it's called aliyah. We go up. Why? Because it's spiritually. Because in the land of Israel, all the tubes of wisdom are open for all of us. We would understand Torah 1, 2, 3 in Israel. But when we go out of because it's open, Hashem has His eyes on the land of Israel. It says in the Gemara that it's better to live in the land of Israel, in a city that all of them worship a different God, of Dei Kochavim Kulam, than a city Shekula Israel, then in the other countries, in a city that all of them are the children of Israel. So it's Ad Kedei Kach, how important it is to live in the land of Israel, because the eyes of God is always on the land of Israel. The one that is responsible for the land of Israel is God Himself. But then for all the other countries around the world, there are angels, sarim, ministers, angels, minister angels, that are responsible for each country. Do you understand? That's why it's called Yerida. Redu milshon laredet, from the land of Israel. But when we go to Israel, it's called Aliyah. We do Aliyah. And look over here. Redu, he gives them already a hint. He tells them, we know that in Brit Bene Betarim, God told Avraham Avinu that the children of Israel are going to be 400 years slaves in a different country, in a country that it's not theirs. But He tells them, you're going to be slaves only by the number of Redu, the numerical number of Redu. Reish is 200. Daled is 4 and Vav is 6. If you add it together, it's 210. The children of Israel, this is a hint that they're going to be slaves instead of 400 years, only 210 years. And who's going to save them? Look, Moshe. Look, Moshe. It's the name. Look. And if you look carefully more, it's also Hashem. Hashem is going to help Moshe to take them out of Egypt after 210 years. Look how beautiful it is. There are hints inside it. Look how beautiful. How the Mikra. So it means that they're going to be slaves 210 years instead of 400 years. Instead of 400 years, they're going to be only 210 years. And Hashem is going to send Moshe Rabbeinu. Hashem is also, it's the same letters, don't you see? Mm-hmm. The same letters. Yeah. Hashem is going to send Moshe Rabbeinu to take them out of Egypt after 210 years. And then what he says, we'll have life. Where will we have the life from? We're going to receive the Torah after Exodus, after we go out of Egypt. And the sea is going to be split for the children of Israel. They're going to receive the Torah. Al Mamad Har Sinai. Look how beautiful it is. So we continue and we can see that he tells them to go to Egypt. They went to Egypt, and I have to tell you the story. Now bear with me so you can listen to all the stories that happened between Yosef and his brothers. Meanwhile, Yosef knew that his brothers are supposed to come to the land of to Egypt. And I have to tell you that there were only 3 countries that had hunger in them. The land of Israel, Canaan, did not have any hunger. But Yaakov, it says, the Midrash says that Yaakov said, the Ishmaelim, the Arabs, and all the other countries around that do have hunger, they will see us that we don't have, and we are not behaving like them. They will come up above us and they will eat everything that we have. Better that we'll behave just like them. We'll go down to Egypt and just take food and come back like they do, in order that they will be inside us. So what he did, he told his sons to go, the 10 sons that went. Benjamin stayed with him. Binyamin Nisharito, the last son of Rachel. You remember Yosef, he didn't have anymore. So he left Binyamin with him, and all 10 sons went to Egypt. But he told them, in order that you won't have ayin hara, evil eye on you, because you are 10 strong men and you are all my sons, you should go into Egypt from different gates. Each one of them went through a different 10 gates. Each one from a different gate. But what did Yosef do? He wanted to know if his brothers are coming and when they are coming. Because he wanted to see them. He wanted to see what will happen with his dreams. So what did he do? He put messengers in each one of the gates. And he told them, listen very carefully. Each person that comes through this gate, into Egypt, you have to write his name and his father's name. And how many nefashot, how many people he has in his family. And how much food he needs. First of all, it's very hogen, because it's very decent. Then you will give enough food for the family. There won't be less, and nobody will come and lie and receive again. Yes, so it will be systemized. So he saw to that, and he wanted Menashe, his firstborn, because he had two sons. He had Ephraim and Menashe. Oh, I didn't tell you how he married us. Not first, I'll say that. We'll stop over here and wait. Yeah, wait. It's interesting. Wait. So I told you that he became the right hand of the king. Now Paro, he had to get married. He had to marry him, Paro, with someone. So Paro said that he's going to make a marriage between him and Potiphar. The daughter of Potiphar was Osnat. Who was Osnat? You remember Dinah? You know, all the tribes had twins. All the tribes had twins. A twin sister, all the tribes. Except for Yosef, he didn't have a twin sister. And Dinah did not have a twin brother. Only them, they didn't have a twin. Now you remember what happened? Shechem ben Hamor was intimate with Dinah and she became pregnant. The tribes, Shimon and Levi, killed all of the people in Shechem. But then they wanted to kill her too because of the shame and the disrespect for Yaakov's, for the name of Yaakov. So what did Yaakov do? Yaakov took a plate of gold and wrote on the plate of gold that he who marries this woman, his children are going to be part of Bet Yaakov, will be part of the sperm of Bet Yaakov. Okay, listen. He gave it to Dinah. He took her to a far place where there was a tree of sneh, it's called. Because of that tree of sneh, she called her daughter Osnat. She gave birth to a daughter. She called her Osnat. It says that either the Malach Gabriel or the Malach Michael took her to Mitzrayim, to Egypt, and over there they put her they gave her to Paro, and he gave her
what it was, a tree of what?
A sneh. The name of the tree was a sneh. That's why she called her Osnat.
It's a fruit.
It's a tree, a kind of tree that is called a sneh. So that's why she called her daughter Osnat. He put her over there, Yaakov.
What does it have to do with the sneh?
It's resembles by the name. Osnat v'asneh. I would like to tell you, so Paro gave her to Potiphar. Potiphar didn't have children. He couldn't have children. So she was like his daughter. She was beautiful. She was like his daughter. So what happened is when Paro took a carriage and took Yosef through the streets of Egypt, and he had over there someone to declare that he is the right hand of Paro, and that because he is the right hand of Paro, everybody has to listen to him. Whatever he says goes. This is what will happen. So meanwhile, when he was outside, he was so beautiful. The women that looked at him, they wanted to marry him. So all the women from all the mirpasot, balconies, they threw on him all their gold, the necklaces, everything they had, the rings, everything they threw on him. Osnat was standing there too, but she didn't have anything to throw except for that plate of gold. So the Midrash says she threw the plate of gold. And he caught the plate, and he sees he who will marry her will be part of Beit Yaakov, because she's part of Beit Yaakov. You remember that by the women we know that the children of Israel are Yehudim, are Jewish. So he caught this and he wanted to marry her. And the question that pops up is, why did Paro let the daughter of Potiphar marry Yosef? Who put Yosef in prison? Potiphar put Yosef in prison. So it seems very weird. How come the marriage should be over there? But you remember that Yosef was a slave. He was Jewish. The Egyptians hated Jewish people. He wasn't considered Jew. He was Ivri then. They didn't like the Ivrim. So and he was also Nar. So we have three things that were like against Yosef. So he wanted to close the mouth of the people. And who mouth did he need to close? The mouth of Potiphar. So if Potiphar becomes his father-in-law, then he can't say anything anymore about Yosef. He can't mention anything because now he's his son-in-law. So he can't say anything about him. So that's why Paro wanted also this marriage. So he got married to her. But I have to tell you, how did Paro test Yosef? Shh, women. How did Paro test Yosef? And it's very important. You know, before Paro, you have to, if you wanted to reach Paro, there were 70 steps, 70 steps. And it says, by the amount of languages that a person knew, you went out there. For example, if a person knew, a person that came to meet the king, if he knew 3 languages, he was supposed to step on 3 steps, go up 3 steps only. And this is by the number of languages. That if you knew 8 languages, 8 steps, and so on and so on. So he wanted to see if really Yosef deserves to be his right hand. And it says the Malach Gabriel started to teach Yosef the languages, so he will know 70 languages. But he could not understand anything. Nothing came into his head. He couldn't understand anything. That's what the Midrash says. He tried. Gabriel taught him, and nothing came into his head. And then Hashem said, let's add to Yosef's name, my hey, he says Hashem. So instead of Yosef, they added Yehosef, the hey of God. The number Yud Kei Vav Kei, the hey of God. And then when the hey was added from the name of God, Yosef remembered all the languages. And it says that he went up stair by stair. So he went up the stairs and he came to the 70th stairs. So when he was over there, he started speaking to Paro in Hebrew, in the holy language. And Paro did not understand a word. He did not. Yosef, he already knew the 70 languages. So step by step, he went up the stairs. And he went up and up because he knew 70. He came to Paro. He was standing with Paro, next to Paro. And then he started speaking with Paro the holy language. And Paro did not understand even one word. And Paro got he didn't know what to do. He was confused. He says, 70.
That's how he's mentioned
in Tehillim.
No, not in Tehillim, but that's how his name is written after he added hey.
Yes, Yehosef.
In Chumash also?
Not in the Chumash, in Tehillim you'll see it.
In Tehillim.
David HaMelech, yes. Now, you remember the hey also comes from Shechem. Instead of Shechem, it's written Shechema. It's the hey of Shechina. So I would like to tell you, so Paro was confused. What shall he do now? Because if he will go down the stairs and tell others, he told them that he's a God. He created the Nile. He created everything. How can he tell them that he doesn't know the holy language? So he made Yosef promise him that he won't say a word. It will be a secret between both of them, and he won't say a word. So this is what you're missing about part of the stories between Paro and Yosef, and the marriage to Osnat. Osnat bore 2 children, Menashe and Ephraim. And now let's continue with the brothers that came into Mitzrayim from different gates, 10 gates. Now meanwhile the messengers wrote the names of the brothers, everyone, Yehuda ben Yaakov, Shimon ben Yaakov, Levi ben Yaakov, from different places. Menashe gathered all of the books at night, because this was his job, and he went to his father. And his father sees the name of all of his brothers are there. So he knows tomorrow he's going to meet them. He tells Menashe, close all of the gates except for one. Only one. Only one place when you're going to sell the food, the grain and everything. Only one place. And when you see those names, you take them to my palace. They have to come over here. Okay, the first day goes, the second and the third, brothers don't come over there. They are not there 3 days. Why? The brothers were seeking for Yosef. They said, we know that he went to Egypt as a slave, but he was beautiful, so they went to the market of the whores. The market of the whores, because they thought because of his beauty, maybe he was sold over there. So they were searching for him, but they did not find him. They said, we will pay any money that they want for him. We'll kill anyone just to take him back. But they could not find him. At the 3rd day, Yosef did not meet them yet, took his guards and told them to search for those people. They searched for them, and they took them and brought them in front of Yosef. They bowed to Yosef. You remember the dream? They bowed to Yosef. Yeah. They were bowing to Yosef, but there was one missing, because he dreamed that 11 grains are bowing to him, and then 11 stars. Binyamin was not there. So they were bowing to him, and he said, what did you do for 3 days over here? Why did you come in different entrances, in different gates? They said, you are spies. He says to them, Meraglim atem. He says, meraglim atem, and the punishment for being a spy is death. It says, punished meraglim, he says. You're meraglim. Meraglim atem. And pay attention, atem is from the words of emet. You see, atem's emet, it's the truth. Emet, meraglim are spies. But look how beautiful. He tries to, with a hint, to tell them, meraglim, it means, mibnei Rachel גנבתם, לאורחת ישמעאלים מכרתם. Look how beautiful, and a hint he's trying to tell them. Yes, he says, you're spies. Let me, I'll explain it and then tell it. We have a lot to say, so bear with me. He says, you're spies. You came from different gates. But in a hint, he's trying to tell them, I know what you did. He says, the mem stands for mibnei, from the sons. Reish is for Rachel, from the sons of Rachel. Gimel is for ganavtem, you stole, which means you stole one of the sons of Rachel. Leorchat Ishmaelim mechartem, you sold him. The mem is mechartem, you sold him to a Orcha is like a group of Ishmaelim. You sold him to a group of Ishmaelim. Look how beautiful it is.
What is meraglim?
Meraglim is spies. Spies. Mibnei Rachel genavtem, leorchat Ishmaelim mechartem. He tells them, and this is the truth. He tells them, atem. B'lshon emet, atem. It's mem. You see, taf aleph. Ze otiyot emet. Look how beautiful he speaks with them. So you will... Emet. Machartem. So look, listen very carefully. That's what he tells them. יש לך נייר? Listen, wait. But you don't... Nobody asked me over here. If Yosef was already a ruler in Mitzrayim, why didn't he tell his father that he's alive? Why didn't he tell his father? Why didn't he send a messenger with a letter to his father?
First of all, they didn't know Yosef in the...
But Yosef knew. Yosef is alive now. No, but the question is, why didn't Yosef inform his father that he's alive? Inform Yaakov. Why didn't he send a messenger to tell Yaakov, I'm alive? I'm the ruler of Egypt. Why didn't he do that? For 22 years.
They changed.
12 years.
Waiting that his brothers would do tshuva.
Wait. It's a good answer. But listen 12 years, you know that he was prisoner. He couldn't do anything. Anyway, he was a slave and a prisoner for 12 years. But then you remember that now he's a ruler. He can tell his father, I'm alive. Why didn't he tell his father that he's alive?
He was afraid that he's going to get a heart attack.
You know, that's also a good thing. You know, I have to say something. It's a good thing. Both of you said really, Yishar Koach. You know, when a person, God forbid, the met is missing, when he comes back, he should tell the Psorah in a very slowly, in a slow way. Why? Because it's really sometimes it's overwhelming for the person, and it's very dangerous. It says in the Midrash that when the tribes wanted to tell Yaakov that his son is alive, Yosef is alive, you know what they did? Serach bat Asher. They sent Serach bat Asher to Yaakov, and she started to play an instrument, and she was playing and she was singing that Yosef, your son, is alive, and he is the ruler of Egypt. And she was singing it very slowly and nicely until the words came into his mind. And he thought that she was only singing it. But you know, once you hear it once you hear it through your ear, it just comes to your mind that maybe it's also true. And it says that because of that, Yaakov Avinu blessed her that she will be alive and she won't die. And she went straight to God. She lived for a long Serach bat Asher, the daughter of Asher, that one is of the tribes. Her name was Serach. Serach bat Asher. And she was singing to Yaakov very gently. They asked her to do that, and informing him that Yosef, I'm sorry, I'm blocking the board.
In other words, he knew?
No, that's when the tribes already knew that Yosef was Yosef, because you spoke about it. I'm telling you how he knew eventually. So she told him that, and he blessed her that she won't die. She lived for a long generation, a lot of generations she saw. She didn't die. And then she went alive to Gan Eden, to paradise. Alive she went to Gan. There were 10 people that went alive to paradise. She was one of them, Serach Bat Asher.
And her merit was?
Sorry?
Her zchut was?
That she told Yaakov. She told Yaakov that Yosef was alive. I wanted to, and he blessed her. That's why she went alive to Gan Eden. He blessed her for that. Her merit was because she told him, and then he became happy.
That's why.
I would like to tell you, dear women, let's continue. So why didn't Yosef... כן.
רגע.
גנבתם לאורחת ישמעאלים מכרתם.
איך מתרגמים מילה לאורחת?
A group, like a group of Ishmaelim you sold. Okay, let's continue. Now everybody understands, so I can continue? אורחת זה כמו קבוצה.
You know, you see those big lines of camels with those people sitting on the top.
I would like to continue, dear women. So the question was, why didn't Yosef inform his father Yaakov that he's alive? Now he's the ruler of Egypt. So it says when there's a cherem, there's an oath, a shvuah, a promise that 10 people, a minyan, did to each other, you cannot break it. You have to have from a chacham, from a tzaddik, hatara, that he will allow you to break it. He has to find a rule, a law in the Jewish law in order to break it. And they did a cherem when they sold Yosef with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. It was the 10th, that they are not allowed to tell the secret. So he couldn't break the secret. Then Yosef couldn't break the secret. He couldn't tell his father, I'm alive and now I'm the shalit, the ruler of Egypt. He couldn't do that. No. But it was more than that. When a tzaddik says something, it happens. It comes true. So he was afraid. You remember that Yaakov, you remember when Yaakov, Lavan came and searched for the trafim, for his avodah zarah, for his God. He was searching for his idol worship. He was searching for the trafim. So when he was searching for it, you remember that Yaakov said, he who has the trafim will die. Yeah. And Rachel died because of that, on early age because of that. So Yosef knew that, and he was afraid that if he will tell his father, announce it, and will inform his father that he's alive and now he was sold and he's the ruler of Egypt, he will curse the brothers and they will die, all of them. So because of that, he did not tell his father. He was waiting till he will see that they have regretted what they did to him, and they will know him, and then they all together will tell, because then there won't be any cherem anymore. There's a tara, there's a permission to break the cherem. So I would like to tell you, dear women, listen, let's continue. So it says that he tells them, Yosef tells them that they are spies, and they convince him that they are not spies. No, they explain to him what I explained to you, that they had to come through different gates because their father told them that, and they came in order to buy food, and they were searching for their brother, that he got lost and they do not know where he is, so they were searching for him. So meanwhile, Yosef said, no, you're spies. And for 3 days, he put them in prison. For 3 days. Then he called them out and he said, listen, I will take only one of them and put him in prison. In front of their eyes, he took Shimon, because you know that when Shimon and Levi are together, there's problems. Shimon veLevi achim, says Yaakov, which means they always, when they are together, there are wars around them. Both of them killed all the people in Shechem. So he tells them, I will take Shimon. And who threw Yosef to the pit? Shimon threw him. So Shimon and Levi were together in the same advice. So he said, I will put Shimon here, I'll separate them, so there won't be any war, they won't think of what to do to me, and meanwhile I'll send all of my other brothers. So he
corrected his tikkun.
He's helping them to do their tikkun now.
Yeah. No, but since he threw the Shimon,
Yes, he took Shimon, he does to him the same thing that he did to, but it's more than that. Listen, it says, Rashi says, he put them in the dungeon in front of their eyes, but then once his brothers went away back to Yaakov, he takes him out and puts him in a nice place and feeds him and gives him everything to show that he doesn't have any bad feelings against him. He already forgave him. And this is a big mitzvah, you know. It says when a person, I'll give you, it says about Rabbi Selanter, Zchutot Hagen Elenu, it says about him that once there was a person that cursed him and mishonored him and behaved very badly towards him. And then that person regretted it a lot. And he came to the rabbi and said, listen, Rabbi, I'm so sorry, I'm so ashamed, I don't know what to do with myself, I can't look at you. Please forgive me. So the rabbi said, you know what, I forgave you already then. I forgive you for about everything that you've done to me. And now tell me, please, he says, please tell me, can I do something for you? An act of kindness, you need a loan, money you need something that I can do. So the man says, how can you ask me such a thing? After what I did to you, I embarrassed you and that I shamed you, and that's what you're telling me? And he says, yes, because an act of kindness towards a person that wronged you and understands that he wronged you can take out a bad thought and the bad deeds that he did. Even if you forgive someone, but until you do something good to that one that you forgave, it doesn't go away because it's still inside of you. But once you did a deed, because everything starts with a thought, then the mouth starts to speak, and then the third thing is the doing, the action itself. So in order to take it away from you, you have to do an act of kindness for that person. That's what the Mishnah says. It's very important because Maaseh motzi mimachshava v'mimaaseh. So Maaseh motzi mimachshava v'mimaaseh, which means that the act, that the deed itself, takes off the thought and the action. That's why it's very important to do that. So this is what Yosef did. We learn it from here. This is what Yosef did. He took out Shimon from the prison. He gave food to him. He fed him. He clothed him. He did everything to him. Meanwhile, the brothers went back to their father. During the journey, I have to do it quickly to tell you this story. During the journey, they found out that Yosef put all of the money that they paid him back in their sacks. So they went to their father and he told them, Yosef, I forgot to tell you that they have to come back with Binyamin. Otherwise, they shouldn't come back, because if they come back, he was going to kill all of them. So now they came back to their father and they were telling him everything, and they were telling him the Levi found the money first because he had 2 donkeys to bring back. So he found the money first. So they saw the money, they told the father, and they told him that they need to take Binyamin with them the next time they have to come. And their father is very upset, and Reuven tells him, you can slaughter my 2 sons, he tells them, and I will be the one that Arov Licha, responsible for you to bring him back. And Yaakov tells him, how can you tell me slaughter my sons? He says, your sons are my sons. Exactly. He didn't mean physically to slaughter his sons. He meant make them poor. Don't give them part of the heritage. Don't give them part of the land of Israel. That's what he meant. Don't give them money. I agree to that. I will be the one responsible for you to bring the children, to bring Binyamin back. But Yaakov did not want to listen about it, because he said to him, Alai ayu kulana. He says to him, Alai hayu kulana. What does that mean? He says, how come he wants Binyamin? It can't be. My mother told me, Alai kalalatcha bni. My mother told me that I'm going to have 3 difficult problems. The main problems, which will be Esav. Ayin is for Esav, Lamed is for Lavan, and Yud is for Yosef. And I did have them. Here's a lie. I had problems with Esav, I had problems with Lavan, and Yosef was taken from me. She didn't say that Binyamin is going to be taken from me again. It's another problem added to what already he was told by his mother. He said, I already had them, Esav, Lavan, and Yosef. It can't be that Hashem wants now Binyamin. Because my mother told me there's going to be only Esav, Lavan, and Yosef. Rivka אמרה ליעקב. And Yaakov says, Alayu Kulan, I already had all the problems. My mother told me about the problems. How come Binyamin is asked to go down to Egypt? So, listen very carefully. The sons, Yehuda told them, don't speak with our father about it anymore. Leave it like this. Once the food was finished, Yehuda came to his father, and he tells his father, Abba, we have to take Binyamin with us. If we won't take anyway, we're going to starve. We don't have food. We need a supply of food. So we have to take him in. But he says, I'm going to be responsible for him. From my hands, you're going to ask for him. But he gives him a responsibility. It's not only, it says in the Ketuvim kach. It's written, Anochi a'arvenu, miyadi tevakshenu, im lo hevetiv elecha v'yitzaktiv lefanecha v'chatati lecha kol hayamim. And I will translate, I will personally guarantee him. Of my own hand you can demand him. If I do not bring him back to you and stand him before you, in front of you, then I will have sinned to you for all times. And tell me, why did Yaakov agree with Yehuda, and he agreed to give Binyamin to Yehuda, and he did not agree to give Binyamin to Reuven? Reuven said, you can take both of my sons. Why did he agree with Yehuda? Because Yehuda promised him that he's going to give up his Olam HaEmet, the next world, the coming world. He says, my guarantee is my coming world. And he knew that Yehuda meant it, because you remember what happened with Yehuda and with his daughter-in-law. Because Yehuda was intimate with his daughter-in-law, you remember what happened? And because of that, she had twins, Zerach vePeretz. And you remember, when she gave the signs to Bet Din, to the judges, he said, Tzadka mimeni. He was not ashamed in front of him. He is the king, Yehuda, from him kingdom comes out. And he was not ashamed in front of all of the people to say, she's right, I'm wrong. I'm wrong, he said. And why? Because he really valued Olam Haba, his next world. So that he says, it's better to be burned in this world, in front of people, basar vadam, human beings, instead of burning in hell, in the next world. So Yaakov knew that Yehuda has a real emunah chazaka b'olam haba, and he really guarantees. He's a man of his words. It's not that Reuven wasn't a man of his word, but he gave a guarantee of his next world, of what he owned in the next world. So that's why Yaakov sent him with him. And we can see that they go back to Egypt. And in Egypt, when they come back, he receives them, Yosef, and he puts them around the table, like a Hasidim, around the table. And he looks at his gavia. A gavia is like a cup, a special cup, a goblet I saw in the dictionary.
Yeah, cup.
A special cup. And he's like reading from the cup. He wanted Binyamin to sit next to him. So he started sitting the brothers by the mothers. And he put all the 6 brothers from Leah together. And then he put from Bilhah, and they put from Zilpah and Bilhah, and then he put Binyamin next to him. He says, he doesn't have a mother, I don't have a mother, he will sit next to me. And the brothers were astonished. How did he know that we are from the same mother? He is a prophet. How did he know that?
But they couldn't recognize.
Good question. Excellent. So why didn't they recognize him? It's written that they did not recognize. He recognized them, but they did not recognize him. And why didn't they not recognize him? Because he was 17 when they left him, and he didn't have his beard. All of them did have their beard. And it's more than that. You are not allowed to look. It's an halacha that you're not allowed to look. You are not allowed to look at the face of a bad person, a wicked person. You are not allowed to look at his face. So they only glanced at his face. They did not truly look at his face. And I have to tell you,
Joseph wasn't Rasha. Why
But he was the ruler of Egypt. They didn't know that he was Yosef.
They didn't know he was Yosef.
And they didn't even figure out that it can't be that Yosef, that was sold as a slave, will become the ruler of Egypt. It wasn't logical for them. So they did not, they only glanced upon him, and even if he was beautiful like Yosef, they didn't even make the connection, because this was the ruler of Egypt and they sold him for a slave. They were looking for him in the market of the whores. So they will look at him in the palace next to the king. It's not reasonable. Okay, so they were sitting and they drank together. They were very happy. And eventually at the end he sends them. And he gives each one of them, he gives presents. And he tells his son Menashe, oh, I didn't tell you, when he prisoned Shimon, he couldn't do that. He called a lot of soldiers. And the soldiers tried to hold Shimon, but Shimon was he was very strong. Nobody could touch him. So Yosef told Menashe and told him, go and seize him. So Menashe went around Shimon and hit him on the head and seized him. So the brothers thought he's strong. Something is he has to be righteous to be so strong, because only the sons of Yaakov are so strong. And if I'd like to show you something. Look, we know that the sons of Rachel were equal to all of the 12 tribes. How do we know that? Look, Yosef, Binyamin, the sons of Rachel were equal as the whole 12 tribes, because if you take the first letter of each name, is Yudbet, is the 12 tribes. Look over here. Yudbet Shvatim, those are the sons of Rachel. I would like to tell you, so he tells his son Menashe, put the cup in the bag, in the sack of Binyamin. So he puts the cup over there. And meanwhile they go out of the palace and they start to go out towards Eretz Canaan, towards Canaan. He tells his soldiers and Menashe to go after them. Now while they go, he tells them before that, listen very carefully. They will tell you that how come you coming to search in our bags? We won't take anything. You saw that when you put the money, you forgot the money in our bags, we gave it back to you. And we paid more money. So we are so honest. We could have made. You didn't notice that the money was back in our bags. So and we came to Eretz Canaan, to the land of Canaan, and we came back to you and gave you back all the money that you forgot in our bags. So how come you can search us? So he said, don't search all of the bags, search only 2. Bagadol v'bakatan. Bagadol itchil, the oldest one he searched, and the little one, the youngest one, he finished. And the only 2 that he searched was Shimon, which was imprisoned in Egypt. He didn't go with them back to Canaan. And Binyamin, that wasn't there, he was with Yaakov. So he said, those 2, you have to search them. So once they searched Binyamin, they found the cup. Binyamin said, I didn't steal the cup. And all of the other brothers were hitting him on his shoulders. They were said, you are the son of a thief. Because you remember his mother Rachel, she stole from her father the Terafim, his idol worship. She stole it from him. So they said, you're the son of a thief, they said. So they were hitting him on the shoulders. And Hashem said, the Bat Kol was going out and says, because of those hits, the Bet HaMikdash, the temple is going to be built on his shoulders. On his land, in the land of Shevet, on the tribe of Binyamin. Bet HaMikdash is going to be built over there. And he had a merit because he did not bow to Esav. He was in the belly of his mother. He was in the womb of his mother. He did not bow to Esav, and he also did not sell Yosef. So he had a few merits for him. That's why he was the one that the Bet HaMikdash was built in his land, on his land. So here we come to Parashat Vayigash. Now we are at Parashat Vayigash. And now we know that the brothers are very afraid, because listen, Yehuda tells him, listen what Yehuda says. ויאמר יהודה, מה נאמר לאדוני, מה נדבר ומה נסתדק, האלוקים מצא את עוון עבדיך, הננו עבדים לאדוני, גם אנחנו, גם אשר נמצא גביע בידו. He says, Yehuda says at the end of Parashat Mikeitz, he says, listen, I know that the cup was found in Benjamin's sack, but all of us are going to be your slaves. And then listen what Yosef says. Yosef says, "Vayomer chalila li ma'asot." Dare me, I won't do such a thing. God forbid. Zot ha'ish asher nimtza gavia beyado. Only the man that had the cup in his hand, hu Elyashiv, only him is going to be a slave. Ve'atem alu leshalom el avichem. שימו לב, עלו לשלום. It's a go to peace. Not in peace, but go to peace, לשלום. It means he already tells them that they're going to have success. עלו לשלום, he says. Then you can see at the beginning of Parashat Vayigash, it says, Vayigash alav Yehuda. Yehuda comes and decides to fight him. He decides to fight him, even to kill him, Yehuda. And it's very weird. Why does he do that? A minute ago he tells him, we're going to be slaves we're willing to be slaves, all of us, for you. So how come he wants to fight him? He tells him, you've seen, when I'll continue, you'll see that he says, I'm going to start killing you, and then I'll kill Paro and the whole of Egypt. And the question is, why does he say that? If before, just a few sentences before, he says, we are willing to be your slaves. Because Yehuda thought that this was already what was promised by Hashem to Avraham Avinu. Hashem told Avraham Avinu that the children of Israel are going to be slaves. So he thought that the slavery starts now. That's what happens. He did not understand that what happened now is because Yosef, the selling of Yosef, he thought because of what Hashem promised Avraham Avinu, this is the starting of the slavery in Egypt. So he told him, we are all willing to be your slaves. But then Yosef told him, no, I just want the one that stole the Gavia. So he said, no, it means that this is not the beginning of the prophecy that Avraham Avinu received from Hashem. So I have to fight for Binyamin. I am the one that responsible for him. So look what happens. So he comes to Yosef and he says, listen. He tells Yosef, I will tell you just the conversation and we'll finish with this because I know it's late. He comes to Yosef and he tells him, listen, you know we have a law that if a person steals something and he can't pay for it, he will be sold as a slave to that person that he stole from him, and he will work for the price of the thing that he stole. And why is that law? Because we usually say that when a person steals something, it means that he didn't have it. He doesn't have food at home. He can't afford. He can't help himself at home. So there's a reason for that. Because he's poor, he did that. But then we say that when he is sold as a slave to that person, he has everything. He has food. He won't have any purpose to steal anymore, any reason to steal. But he says, listen very carefully, Binyamin is a rich boy. His father is very rich. You are like a king over here in Egypt, but his father Yaakov is a king in Canaan. And we are all kings, and I'm a king, he says. And he says, listen very carefully, because he did that, and he has all the riches in the world. He doesn't need anything. It means that it is part of his character. So if you put him in your palace, he will steal everything. He won't leave anything for you, because it's part of his character. He didn't do that because he's a poor boy. He did that because it's part of his character. He says, you don't need him. Leave it to me. Take me as a slave. I am willing. If you want him to be a soldier, I'm stronger than him. If you want him to serve you, I can serve you better. Don't take him, he says. You don't need him. And then he says, Kamocha ke Paro, he says, you are just like Paro. I know, Paro likes men. He likes young men. He says, and you are just like Paro, he says. You also like beautiful boys. So maybe you want Binyamin for that purpose, he says. And then Yosef says, who are you to speak, he says. I can see that you're only the fourth brother. And how does he know? Because look at the word Yehuda has this Dalet. Dalet is 4 numerically. And we know that the first brother is Reuven, the second is Shimon, the third is Levi, and then is Yehuda. So he says, you are the fourth brother. Who are you to speak? You're not the oldest one. You're not the firstborn. Why do you speak? Let your brother speak before you. And Yehuda says, no. I am the one that guaranteed to my father. I am responsible for him. I am the one that my father is going to ask him from me. And then Yosef tells, it says, there's a thing that I wanted to give you. It says in Midrash Tanchuma, I know, it says about those big starting words of Vayigash, it says, במדרש תנחומה, זה שאמר הכתוב, ושרה קנאת אפרים, and the jealousy of Ephraim ceased to be in the prophet Yoshua, it says over there. And what does it mean? Ephraim was the son of Yosef. It says, כנגד מי אמר ישעיה מקרא זה? לא אמרו, אלא כנגד יהודה ויוסף. שאמר רבי שמואל בר נחמן, אמר רבי יונתן, בשעה שהיו יהודה ויוסף מתווכחים זה עם זה, אמרו מלאכי השרת זה לזה, בואו נרד למטה ונראה שור וארי מתנגחים זה עם זה. בנוהג שבעולם שור מתיירא מפני ארי, ועכשיו שור וארי מתנגחים ועומדים בקנאה ביניהן. לפיכך ושרה קנאת אפרים מתי? משיח בא כשמגיע משיח. Listen, I'll explain it. It says, you know that Yehuda is, from him comes Mashiach ben David, and from Yosef comes Mashiach ben Yosef. The fight between them, the oral fight that was between them, was the fight between two Mashiachim. Two Mashiachim was one of Mashiach bet Yosef, Mashiach bet David. Yosef is a shor, is a bull, and Yehuda is a lion. And the angels that saw that said, let's go from heavens and come and see this oral fight between them, because this is a fight between two Mashiachim. It's not a regular fight. It's two Mashiachim that are fighting over here. And in the physical world, the bull is afraid of a lion. But over here, this is a spiritual fight, an oral fight, a spiritual one. And then the lion and the bull are fighting between them. And there's jealousy between them, because both of them are like kings. Because Yehuda tells him, I'm also a king. You don't know that, but I'm a king too. And he tells him, and you can see, and he says, when will that jealousy stop? כשיגיע משיח צאתנו מהרע ואמנו amen, amen. So I have to tell you, he tells him, you know, I am a king, and you have to know that for Dinah, that wasn't part of the 12 sons, that is a girl, and she doesn't inherit any land in Eretz Israel, does not inherit. We killed, two of us killed a whole city. So for Binyamin, we'll kill all of you. And Yosef looks at him and he says, I will take, Yehuda says, I will take out my sword and I'm going to kill you. And Yosef tells him, I will put your sword around your neck, he says. I'll wrap it around your neck. And Yehuda tries to take out his sword, but he can't. So he says, this is a righteous person. It can't be that he is so strong. He's a tzaddik. How come he's so strong? So then he said, you know what? I'm going to open my mouth and I'm going to swallow you, he tells Yosef. And Yosef said, don't worry, I'll take a rock and I will put it in your mouth. And he says, so what did Yehuda do? Yehuda picks up a big rock that was there in the palace, picks it up, and throws it from his right hand to the left hand. And you can't pick that rock. You have to have a lot of men to pick it. So Yosef calls Menashe, his son. He says, do the same thing. And he does the same thing. And Yehuda says, something is weird over here. It can't be. Only the children of Yaakov have that strength. And then he says to Naphtali, Yehuda says to Naphtali, go and search and tell me how many shvakim, how many streets do they have here in Egypt. And he runs. Naphtali was like a yala, like a deer. He runs quickly and comes back to Yehuda. And he tells Yehuda, there are 12 streets. Yehuda tells him, I'm going to ruin 3. Each one of you is going to ruin 1. We're going to ruin the whole of Egypt. And the brothers tell him, but Egypt is not like Shechem. Sorry, just a minute. Amen. If you ruin Egypt, it's like ruining the whole world. And then Yehuda starts to roar like a lion. And it says once he did that, it was like a loud sound, vibrational sound. 2 cities were ruined totally, like Ridat Adama, like an earthquake. Were ruined totally. Pitom Beramses, 2 Egyptian cities were ruined totally. And they were called Pitom Beramses. And 300 heroes, all of their teeth went out of their mouth, fell from their mouth. And their heads, it says in the Midrash, went backwards instead of having the face. The head Shalom that was on the back. That's what the Midrash says. And it says because of his roar, Yosef fell from his chair and Paro fell from his chair. And it says that Shamu, that they've heard, Paro even heard the roar. He heard everything. And then it says that Yehuda became so angry that Yehuda, his right eye, it started bleeding. It had blood in it. Some say that both of his eyes were bleeding. When he becomes very, and you know that this is the end. Yosef knew that that's it. When he saw the signs, that's it. If he won't calm him down, all of Egypt is going to be ruined. So his eyes started bleeding. And it says in the Midrash that he had 2 hair on his chest. And the 2 hair, those 2 hair became on his heart. Those 2 became like swords, and it went through his clothes like swords. It was there. So now Yosef knew that that's the end, because when the boys, when the children of Israel, the children of Yaakov, become so angry, they can ruin the whole world. You know, part of Shevet Yehuda left Israel, left the land of Israel before the ruinings of the first temple. And when they wanted to stop them, they told them, don't stop the children of the Shevet Yehuda, of the tribe of Yehuda, because they are very dangerous. They can ruin the world. So now Yosef saw that, and he knew that there was a great danger. He told all of the Egyptians to go out of the room. And then he revealed himself to his brothers. And before he did that, he said, you know, I know what happened to your brother. Your brother did not die. You sold him as a slave, and I bought him. And then he says loudly, Yosef ben Yaakov, he shouts out, Yosef ben Yaakov, har'eh et atzmecha, show yourself. Yosef, the son of Yaakov. Yosef himself says, I bought him as a slave. I know, you sold him as a slave. I bought him. I told you, spies, mereglim, mibnei Rachel genavtem, leorchat Ishmaelim mechartem. He says, I know you sold him. I bought him. He says, Yosef ben Yaakov, Yosef the son of Yaakov, reveal yourself. And the brothers were looking, spreading out, were looking for him. Where is he? And then they wanted to kill him, but then came angels and they spread them to the back of the room. And then Yosef said, Ani Yosef achichem. He said, I am Yosef, your brother, shemachartem oti leMitzrayim, that you sold me to Mitzrayim, to Egypt. He says, Ken.
How come did he ever say that you fight for that brother, Binyamin? And how come you sold me?
Of course it did. It was part of, yes. It was part of the conversation. It was part of the conversation. When he was not that, when he didn't say directly, but when Yehuda was fighting for Binyamin, he was making peace between himself and Yosef. How did he make peace between himself and Yosef? Because by showing him that he was fighting for one of the sons of Rachel, it means that he doesn't have any hatred against the children of Rachel anymore. You understand?
Why did he anger them so much? Why did he need to anger them?
Because he needed to know that they truly in their hearts did tshuva. He wanted to know that they did tshuva. He knew that Hashem forgave him for the slander. Yosef knew that for slandering his brothers, you remember that Yosef slandered his brothers in front of his father. And he knew that Hashem forgave him for that. How did he know that? Because there's halakha that says that Hashem forgives the sins of 3 people. The broom, the man that gets married, all his sins are clean. He opens a new page. A person who converts to Judaism is like a baby that is just born. All his sins are forgiven. And then the third person that all his sins are forgiven is a person that becomes a great man. All of his sins are forgiven.
What do you mean, great man?
Like a leader, a king.
Sandak, right? Also the sandak, when he holds the baby to the bridge.
The halakha says 3 people.
Why the big man? Why?
Because when a person becomes a king and he has a lot of sins, he has to be punished. All of the people underneath him will be punished with him. So God forgives him and opens a white page for him. So let's finish. I know it's late. So what we see over here, he tells them, I'm Yosef, your brother. I already told you how they announced it to their father. But he says, listen, when a person meets another person, and now they are reconciliating. Now they are reconciliating. He shouldn't mention their sins, because he tells them, I'm Yosef that you sold to Egypt. But he tells them that only because to tell them, to give them a hint that I did not change. I'm the same Yosef. I'm keeping all the halacha, everything. I'm keeping Shabbat. And you have to know that he tells them, I am circumcised. And each one of the people that came and bought, the non-Jewish people that came and bought food from us, I also told them to circumcise themselves. So he gave them hints. He tells them, listen to the voice that I'm speaking to you. That vi'atayin. So he speaks with them with the holy language. So he confronts them. It says in the Midrash that the moment that he said, Ani Yosef, they all died. That moment, nafcha nishmatam, from the shock that they received, nishmatam parcha. Taru lachem, I will say something I'll end it over here. Nishmatam parcha. And it says in the Midrash that God made a miracle for them, that He brought back their soul because they were shocked.
And why they died? Because they were shocked.
They were shocked. They couldn't believe what they saw. They understood in a minute that all of the dreams were true. Everything that happened is because of the selling of Yosef. That they were shocked. And it says in the Midrash also. I'll tell you what. Remind me to finish with the Chafetz Chaim. I have to finish with him. It says that Yosef hugged Binyamin, and he was crying on his neck, and Binyamin was crying on his neck. I will just say this, that they were crying. Yosef was crying about the two temples that are going to be in the part of Binyamin's tribe, and they are going to be ruined. And he was crying, Binyamin was crying, that he saw that Mishkan Shiloh is going to be ruined in the part of Yosef. Exactly, they were ruined. And why were they crying? Because the neck, they were crying on the neck of each other, and the neck is like the temple. The neck is always considered as the temple. And why the neck is the temple? Because the neck is the connection between the head and all the parts of the body. Okay? And the temple is the connection between Hashem and all of the children of Israel and all of the people all over the world. This is the connection. And I won't continue over here to finish. I will finish only with the Chafetz Chaim. I wanted to tell you, ask me why did they, at that minute, the Parcha Nishmatam, when they heard Ani Yosef, Chafetz Chaim says, the moment we have questions, why do righteous people suffer? We have questions, why do the wicked one prosper? What's going on in this world? And we do not have answers. We do not have answers. The Chafetz Chaim Zchutot Hagen Alalu says, he says, that once Hashem is going to show Himself in Yerushalayim, Behar HaZetim Yerushalayim, and He will say, Ani Hashem, I am Hashem, we will have, that minute, we'll have all of the questions answered. In a minute, everything will be revealed towards us. And with those kind words, I would like to finish and say, She'agia Mashiach Tzidkenu Mimra B'Yameinu, Amen. Eliyahu Navi Zachur Latov, Amen. I would like to say, I would like to wish you women, Geula Pratit v'Geula Kleitit, Alem and Kol Ben Yisrael, Amen. And Bezrat Hashem, L'olam Yipared Adam Mechavero B'dvar Halacha, Yachid Barabim Halacha Kerabim, Amen. Next week.